So I got a new tarot deck the other day and I've been working with it for the past few days in order to sort of like get to know it. And yesterday while I was on the train, I thought, well, I'm going to ask it a question. And the question I asked was, how can I serve my collective through my general tarot readings? And I really, really liked the message that I got with the card that came out. So the card that came out was the Seven of Crowns, which is traditionally the sword suit, so Seven of Swords. I should have mentioned that this is the Goblin Market Tarot, by the way. So in this deck, the crowns corresponds to the swords. And you might know the Seven of Swords as sort of like that card of like kind of trickstery energy, isn't it? It's sort of like trying to get away with something. Thievery even. But the message here is a bit more positive. So it says, this card's about finding hope in the most dire circumstances. After the succession of difficult cards in the suit from the 3 to 6, it comes as something of a relief, as we may see from the smile of freedom on the face of the goblin here as he spreads his wings to fly. But all is not as clear as it may first seem. While you may be able to approach problems with a clear, positive outlook, on the downside, this card implies new problems that might come along, whether slander, news of danger ahead, or whatever else. The overall message, however, is optimistic, that if you believe in yourself and advance with caution, then with a little help, you have a good chance of achieving your dreams, however great they are. And it says Goblin Whispers, upside, hope, plans, perseverance, self-belief, realization of dreams. And the downside is advice, instruction, warning, and slander. So honestly, it's a bit more optimistic than I expected for this card. Typically, the Seven of Swords is a little bit shifty. But yeah, I really like this. So what stood out to me for the question, how can I serve my collective through my general tarot readings? It says here that this is about finding hope in the most dire of circumstances. And honestly, for me, that's what tarot has been. It has been a tool to provide hope in circumstances that may not have always been the most optimal. And it's ultimately what I hope to do when I have a client who comes to me for a reading, is to help them find hope in whatever situation they might be in. It also says it comes as something of a relief, as we see from the smile of freedom on the face of the goblin here as he spreads his wings to fly. That message of freedom is really important. Freedom is a core value of mine, and I think ultimately knowledge is freedom. So through these readings, it's like what I hope to do is allow the listener or whoever's watching to see the back of their own head, almost how it works in the therapeutic process. Sometimes we can't see our own biases, sometimes we can't see all possible vantage points. And so that's what I hope that these messages that I'm delivering to the collective are going to help to achieve for those who are watching, a sense of freedom. If they can identify a problem or they can identify a point of view that might ultimately set them free. When it talks about the downside, the card implying that new problems might come along, I often do see that in my readings. So while I do want to offer hope and I always want to have an optimistic view, sometimes I do have to deliver tricky messages, and I try to, as sensitively but as honestly as possible, guide my client or the listener or the viewer, however you want to put it, just through that difficulty. But ultimately, like, it's about giving that heads up so that you can use your free will to act in accordance with your highest good, to have the best outcomes possible. And I'm assuming that I'm aligning with people who have that sort of growth mindset rather than like a victimhood mentality. as someone who's tuning into these messages, you're someone who wants to see things how they are. You're someone who wants to make changes, to learn lessons, and to align yourself with your highest timeline and your highest good. It also says if you believe in yourself and advance with caution, with a little help, you have a good chance of achieving a dream. So, yeah, like that is what I'm very passionate about with this work that I do. And with the clients that I've had the pleasure of working with um, over a longer period of time, returning clients, the best thing that I get to see in them is how they go after their dreams, and how sometimes untangling certain topics through the cards in these sessions help them do that. It's something that keeps me coming back to doing tarot. And I've done a lot of things in my life, but this is what I keep coming back to, is what I feel like is my purpose here. I talk about on my website actually the idea of stewardship. As you may have recognized, my channel and my business is called Voice of Feathers. This is because as a bird lover, an animal lover in general, but birds have always been like spiritual messengers and guides for me. And the southern cassowary in particular has been almost like a totem for me, a spirit guide who has shown me what my purpose is here. So similar to the cassowary, who is a steward of diversity in their ecosystem, I hope to create an ecosystem with this collective that allows for each and every one of you, your unique diversity, to flourish. So the cassowary is the gardener of the rainforest in the Daintree. Without them, the oldest patch of rainforest in the world, 180 million years old, wouldn't be able to survive. So there's countless species of flora and fauna that rely on the cassowary, who's large enough to swallow much of the fruits and distribute them that way. So yeah, I feel similar in my purpose, in that it's not so much about what I do, but what I facilitate in others, in order to have not just a community, not just a collective, but an ecosystem of diversity. Each and every one of you who tune into my messages, you're going to have a different purpose in your life, different lessons to learn, but there will be a common thread that will resonate with most of you, if not all of you. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I knew I really wanted to do this and to channel for a collective, but it's really nice to sort of hone in on what the specifics of what I'm doing here is, and how I can best serve those who tune in to watch or to listen to my reading. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in a reading very, very soon.